Much to get to, including, of course, the shooting in New York and the updates there. But yes, it is true. August 23rd, the next event, one night only, me and Nick Searcy. You know him from TV's Justified. You know every movie he's done. From LA to the Midwest and never looking back. That is the event, August 23rd, West Fork Whiskey in Westfield, Indiana. Tickets go on sale next week. I hope you'll be there. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Fletterman Von Riest. That's right. That's what you should be getting right there. Let's start the show. So the motives might become clearer and clearer, but we have a basic idea of what happened. This guy who played, football in high school, who was known in Nevada to be a potential threat, a history of mental health issues, as described, walked through New York holding an AR-15, walked into a building that housed the headquarters for was it BlackRock? Blackstone, sorry, and the NFL, and started shooting. Ended up on the wrong floor, killed 4, including a New York City police officer, and killed himself. Tony Katz. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com, streaming live on YouTube. Look for Tony Katz on Twitter, X, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. In all of this, there is going to be a tremendous amount that is not discussed regarding these people who were killed. And it should be. This officer, these people who did absolutely nothing wrong. They're going to be, sadly, this forgotten story, because we're going to take a look at the mental health issues of this guy. And then, of course, we're going to take a look at CNN, which in its most pathetic way, without knowing anything, admitting they knew nothing, they went down the racial road.
Do not know who he is. They know he is a male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses. He appears to have a mustache. And that picture has been distributed to every police officer in New York City.
Possibly white. If you already had a photo, then you know he wasn't white. Why in the world would you say? For what reason would you say possibly white? Erin Burnett should be ashamed of herself, and CNN should be ashamed of themselves, but they have no shame, and this much is obvious. We'll get into this part of the madness, and I know that's where a lot of people are going to focus. I'm not saying that they're wrong. If it's okay by you, I want to focus on this guy who had a documented mental health history. I'm not using his name. I don't give names. I don't give, any celebrity to them. This guy worked as a security guard at a Vegas casino. He shot through the lobby, shot the majority of victims before heading to the 33rd floor. Now, as it's been reported, he thought that was the floor where the NFL was, the National Football League. He was on the wrong floor. It was on that floor where he took his own life. They found a rifle case with rounds in the car, a loaded revolver, extra ammunition, magazines, a backpack, and medication prescribed to him. The New York Post says that he had a concealed firearms permit from Las Vegas with a 2027 expiration date. Now, I would assume that would mean from Nevada, not specifically Las Vegas, but not being an expert on the rules there and licensing in Nevada, I'll leave it as is reported, and clearly that could be wrong because, as we know, very often these news outlets get everything with firearms wrong. The question is what was known. We're not talking about motivation, right? There's the word that he was believed that he was suffering from CTE, and what was he gonna do? Blame the NFL? CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a disease related to head trauma, and it'll affect thinking, it'll affect mood, and there are many who think that football leads down this road. I have no expertise on the subject, but this guy didn't play in the NFL. He played in high school, I believe. I'm not even so sure he played in college. What in the world does any of this have to do with the NFL? Well, Tony, if you already have a brain injury, you're not thinking right. Let's hold that right there. Hold that thought for a moment, if you would. Let's get back to this. Law enforcement in Las Vegas, according to the police commissioner, as reported by the New York Post, they knew that this guy had a, quote, documented mental health history. What does that mean? Documented mental health history. What does one do with that information? Does that mean that Las Vegas police knew that he was a problem? Did they know that he was a threat to himself, to others? Was this known? Yes or no? If they knew he was a threat, what in the world took place that he could be allowed to leave Nevada, and some generalized notification to law enforcement would have at least existed? You would think that that's possible. What of the rumors, again, rumors, that there was notification? I have seen this in, not everywhere, I've seen this in a couple of spots. This also got emailed to me. Law enforcement mentioned he had a known history of mental health issues revealed to New York City police by Las Vegas authorities 2 weeks before the shooting. Now, I state to you that that could be proven untrue as we get more information. But it so much reminded me of these terror watch lists, right? Where we've got a terrorist watch list. We're watching this one on the terror watch list, and we're watching that one on the terror watch list. And then you see something happen with one of these people on the terrorist watch list. Well, what was the point of the watch list? Who in the world was watching? And is that person now out of a job or in jail? I'll take both, please. What did we know here? What could have been stopped here? What is it that was known to the police in Nevada, and what could they have done? If he was known to have mental health issues, what work was done to ensure he didn't have access to a firearm? And I want to be clear, all of the actions in the world don't stop the mentally disturbed person from being mentally disturbed. And until someone actually does something, you can't, precog this thing. This isn't Minority Report. You can only do the best you can do. But if a warning was given, well, then maybe more could have been done. Should have been done. We should be more honest about these things. This often leads down to a conversation of red flag laws and being able to adjudicate somebody mentally unfit so they can't get access to a firearm. The problem is progressives abuse that kind of stuff because they don't think anybody should have a gun. I wish the people in that building could have had the ability to protect and defend themselves when this guy started shooting. Because I agree. I doubt you could have stopped the first shot, the second shot, or the third shot. Maybe you could have stopped the fourth shot. You definitely could have stopped the fifth. That's my take. This is the part of the conversation that matters. Of course, we will get into the despicableness of CNN, their absolute failure as a news outlet. Possibly white. What the hell? You didn't know anything, but you said that? That's a fireable offense. CNN has to be embarrassed. Wait, these people have no shame. They should be embarrassed. But again, with the lack of shame. Do you know how many good hosts there are out there who would say, whoa, we don't have that information yet. Don't put that out there. No, sir. I don't care if you're a so-called expert. No, that's a gross thing to say. Only tell us what you know. Don't tell us what you think until you're asked about what you think. So we could describe it as something you think and not as data. That's what a host should have done. That's what any host worth their damn salt would have done. Seemingly not Erin Burnett in this case. There's plenty to discuss there. But are we going to discuss, hey, we know this guy's a problem. Oh, well, let it be New York's problem. Oh, he left for Indiana. Let it be Indiana's problem, or Oklahoma's problem, or Tennessee's problem. Let it be Illinois. Let it be Peoria's problem. But that is not going to work. And that's one of the real stories here. So this is all we have right now. This is all we know. There were notes left and everything else. We'll get a fuller picture in the days ahead. But if we don't start doing something in our own municipalities, in our own cities, about the people we know are a problem, and we don't have a system for dealing with these things before they happen, well, I think that's kind of odd. I would think that that's foolhardy. And maybe very well the answer is, Tony, there's nothing that can be done early. Because if there's a system that the people who think that you shouldn't be able to protect and defend yourself and your family, they'll use that system against you, which we know comes true. And then we get stuck with, oh, well, I guess these things are going to happen from time to time. I just think there should be more distance in the times and the times. If we were honest people, this would be the conversation we're having. Discussing CNN's bigotry? Oh, sure. Agreed. We can have more than one conversation at a time. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Everybody, I was writing an email. Let's see, what else did I have to answer here? Ah, there it is. There it is. What else do we know? 1 minute hurt, Landon. I hear you. That's producer Landon right there. Yeah, they can't hear you. They cannot hear you. They've made it very clear. They do not want to hear from you. They want you to just stop with the talking. Oh, freaking Europeans. I said it. Freaking Europeans. Apologize for nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right? Oh, look at you making jokes. Yep. Let's get to it, guys. Oh, that's Keir Starmer.
On the 7th of October 2023, Hamas perpetrated the worst massacre in Israel's history. Every day since then, the horror has continued. The hostages are still being held today. The Palestinian people have endured terrible suffering. Now, in Gaza, because of a catastrophic failure of aid, we see starving babies, children too weak to stand, images that will stay with us for a lifetime. The suffering must end. Yesterday, I discussed this with President Trump, and we're mounting a major effort to get humanitarian supplies back in by air, and UK aid has been airdropped into Gaza today, and crucially, by land. We need to see at least 500 trucks entering Gaza every day. But ultimately, the only way to bring this humanitarian crisis to an end is through a long-term settlement.
A long-term settlement, what does that mean, Prime Minister Starmer? Tony Katz today. Never mind that food is stopped by Hamas. Never mind that UN hasn't delivered food. Never mind that Israel, the nation that was attacked, is now engaging these aid drops as well. You got attacked, now feed us is a very, very, very weird construct. Yet it is the progressive construct. But what does this mean about a level of permanence, Keir Starmer?
So we are supporting the US, Egyptian and Qatari efforts to secure a vital ceasefire.
Now, that's no problem. Tony Katz today, you could support that, Prime Minister. But you understand that it's already been seen that Hamas is not a serious actor or player. These are murderers, lowlifes. These are rapists. They burn babies alive. They're not interested in ceasefire. They're interested in death and destruction, and they haven't returned the hostages. They play games in the conversations, and that's why Steve Witkoff, the Mideast envoy, left. There's nothing to talk about here. So what are you talking about, Prime Minister?
That ceasefire must be sustainable, and it must lead to a wider peace plan, which we're developing with our international partners. This plan will deliver security and proper governance in Gaza and pave the way for negotiations on a two-state solution.
Honestly, sir, you can go to hell. Who are you going to have a two-state solution with? Can we please be grown-ups here? With whom will you have this two-state solution? The so-called Palestinians, who were the second wave of the attacks on October 7th, who engaged in the murders of the Israelis, those people, when hostages are being released, come to menace the hostages and cheer that they've been held. Those who worked to keep the hostages' locations private when it is clear there were opportunities for them to let people know, hey, hostages are here, go get them. We don't want this. We want the better life. Certainly not every Palestinian is the same, but certainly we've got enough data to show us what happened and what has been happening. What two-state solution are you talking about?
Our goal remains a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state.
Not with this leadership, and not for 40 years, like wandering through a desert. You have to get out of the mindset that the Israelis are your enemies, that Jews are the enemies. You're going to have to break these people of the disease that has been put into their mind about who their enemy is. Are you a child, Prime Minister? Can we all be grown-ups for a minute? Get rid of Hamas all in. Work towards this goal. Feel free. But think that it's going to happen because you said so? You're going to need a governing force that it has the ability to fire bullets through a barrel. And you're going to need to do that for 40 years. Are you in or are you out? Which one is it? Which one is it, you so-called intellectual? You cannot have peace with Hamas. You cannot have any conversation that doesn't start with every Hamas member must be destroyed, and the mindset of the Palestinian people must be reset. Because if they continue to hate Israelis and hate Jews and hate the West, there'll be no difference. Nothing will change. And if you want things to change, you have to change the mindset.
But right now, that goal is under pressure like never before. I've always said that we will recognize a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution.
God, you're a beta cuck. I that was with a C, U-C-K. That's, everyone just calm down. And you got to see it's from Sky News in the lower third there, the Chiron. Prime Minister, Israel must end appalling situation in Gaza. It's never once about Hamas. It's always about Israel. Someone said to me, Tony, you're always supporting Israel. Why is that? I support the things that I think matter. And if you ask me if I support Israel or I support Hamas, I support Israel. And the people who support Hamas can go to hell in a handbasket. I don't give a good holy damn about those people. I support Israel because Israel is worth supporting. I don't support Hamas because I don't support terrorists. And the people who support Hamas can go to hell. They mean nothing to me. They're bad people. They shouldn't be elected. They shouldn't be put into positions of power. They shouldn't be listened to. They should be laughed out of the room. And when they want to act tough, okay, let's get tough. Be scared of you. Holy hell. You want a lasting peace, you got to get rid of the mindset that has these people hating Jews, hating Israelis, hating Western civilization. That's the story. And the pseudo-intellectualism here from Keir Starmer, the prime minister, that somehow you could just will this to be, it cannot, the will cannot come from, oh, I have such a giving heart. It has to come from the willingness to absolutely handle those who think that they can live the old way. That comes from force. Are you ready for that? Because I don't think you are. Reality is a son of a gun, ain't it? Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Yeah, someone sent me this thing or responding. Oh, I like some of what Tony says, but man, he supports Israel too much. Oh, okay. It's Israel or terrorists. I've made my decision. It's the people who take water pipes and turn them into missile launchers, or the people who can create mechanical heart valves to keep my grandpa alive. I didn't know there was an argument here. As a matter of fact, there is no argument here. Do you know how absolutely stupid you have to be to support the terrorist? I didn't say I like everything Israel does. Israel needs a constitution. Israel's rules during COVID were dopey. That's not the argument. I don't like everything the UK does. I support the existence of the United Kingdom and think they should do something about that before the whole country is taken over by Islamists, which is happening. Or do we not talk about that because, oh, you can't say that. Of course you can say that. We have eyes, we can see. Poland saw and we're like, we're not doing that. Hungary saw, we're like, we're not doing that. They looked at Germany like, whoo, you gonna regret this, boo-boo. I made my decision. I support Israel. Over terrorists? Absolutely. Over Islamists? Absolutely. Over people who want a worldwide caliphate? Absolutely. Over people who burn babies alive? Absolutely. Over people who take hostages? Absolutely. Over people who take mentally disabled children, strap bombs to them, put them on buses so they can kill a couple of Jews? Absolutely. I support Israel. And if you support Hamas, kiss my ass and die in a fire. I'm supposed to care about you? I didn't say you disagreed with Israeli policy. I didn't say you didn't want to see a peaceful solution. You can want all of that and not support terrorists, right? That's a bit, I think you're allowed to have a bit of nuance here. But there are people out there who support Hamas. I don't have any time for them. I don't care if they're happy. I don't care if they're angry with me. None of it matters. To hell with them. So yeah, I support Israel. I know. Shocking when given the comparison between the two. One should do the really normal, obvious thing. All right. Enough of that. Let us move on here as I've got a bunch more clips. Oh, I have some Chuck Schumer. I have a twofer on Chuck Schumer today. That's always good. Hold on. This just in. Hold on. That's never good. It's never good to have a twofer on Chuck Schumer. Never at all. So what I've decided is I dig the shirts, right? I dig the whole branding, but I think for the show, they've got to be long sleeve. I think that's just a little more professionalism. Although it is 9 billion degrees here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I just think the short sleeve doesn't fly. So I'll wear this for the casualness of having a cigar, and everything else long sleeve. So that's the future. So forgive this. I'm usually never this casual. I wear a suit everywhere. Like tomorrow, I gotta do some traveling. I'll be in a suit. It'll be 900 degrees. Won't care. Right? I believe in suits, but I've been trying to be a little more casual here. And now you know too much. Coming back to the show. I love it.
Russia and Ukraine are talking about ceasefires. What's the latest?
I would have said 5 times we would have had a deal. I've spoken to President Putin a lot. I got along with him very well. But 5 times, and every time 4 times maybe. But we've had discussions. You and I have had discussions. Yeah. We thought we had that settled numerous times. And then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city like Kiev, and kills a lot of people in a nursing home or whatever. You have bodies lying all over the street. And I say, that's not the way to do it. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed.
But nothing's going to change, even though he has said he's going to shorten the term of getting a peace deal. You could shorten it. It's not going to change. We've discussed this. I just share the updates with it. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669, 833-GOT-TONY. That's how you get to be a part of the show. Josh Hawley now, the senator from Missouri, with the legislation, the American Worker Rebate Act, taking what President Trump said about sending a rebate regarding tariffs, we're paying all these tariffs, taking on money, all this tariffs, maybe a little rebate to the American people, right? Depending. So he made it sound like it would be certain people of certain incomes and certain groups, not necessarily people who paid the tariff who would get some kind of check. I think that's wealth redistribution, and I oppose it. The Hawley legislation stating Americans deserve a tax rebate after 4 years of Biden policies that have devastated family savings and livelihoods. Like President Trump proposed, My legislation would allow hardworking Americans to benefit from the wealth that Trump's tariffs are returning to this country. Well, it's our money and it's coming back to us. That's not it. That's a gross misrepresentation. This is the second time where Senator Hawley is playing in this populism, nay, leftism that just is not enjoyable to witness. The deal would be $600 per adult and dependent child. It would be reduced by 5% if the taxpayer's adjusted gross income exceeded 150 grand in a joint return, 112.5 in the case of head of household, or $75,000 of an individual taxpayer. And it's modeled after the COVID stimulus checks in 2020. So it set up their program as a refundable tax credit. I'll say it again. If you told me you want to take this money and pay down the debt, which was the original conversation, okay. I mean, I can't stop the tariffs from happening. They're going to happen. But the idea that we're gonna give it as some level of refund and rebate, and my gosh, isn't the president great? I'm sorry. I voted for the guy 3 times, and I don't regret my vote at all. But that is not cool. Want zero part of what is that idea. Meanwhile, I did have this about Chuck Schumer. I did want to get to the thing about Chuck. Oh, no. Oh gosh, I can't believe I forgot this story. How did I not have this on the board? This was out of Maine. I thought this was a joke, but it is not a joke. This is out of Maine, where you have, you know what? I can't say it as well as it got reported. Here's the headline, and it's not. The headline is absolutely horrific. The kind of headline that's going to make you scream out loud. I used to have a headline. I used to have a sounder called "Worst Headline of the Day," but it's not. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I do have it. Look at me. I'm such an incredible pro.
Your car's seatbelt, safety miracle, or decapitation nightmare?
What is the connection between rain and farming? The answer may surprise you.
Heroin, sex, machine guns, flamethrowers, murder. There's no story here. We've just found that ratings go up when we say those words.
It's time for the worst headline of the day.
Seasonal police officer in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, arrested by ICE. Oh, okay. Well, that is a story. The question is, why were they arrested by ICE?
We start with breaking news out of Old Orchard Beach. A police officer there has been arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations Unit in Boston says John Luke Evans was picked up in Biddeford after he illegally tried to buy a gun in Maine. ICE says Evans is from Jamaica and that he came here legally in 2023 but overstayed his visa. During the arrest, they say he told ICE agents he was trying to buy the gun to use as part of his employment as a police officer. You can see Evans here in a post from the Old Orchard Beach Police Department back in June as they welcomed 6 new reserve officers, saying the group had recently graduated from the Maine Criminal Justice Academy's Law Enforcement Pre-Service Program.
Now, I want to be clear about what it is you just heard. He's Jamaican. He overstayed his visa, and they made him a cop. He legally entered the U.S. through Miami, September of 2023. He was supposed to leave the country a week later. So he got in September 24th. He was supposed to leave October 1st. And he's been in the country ever since. How did he get the job? How did it come about? You're telling me that our police departments don't do background checks to see if you're in the country legally, if you're a legal citizen? How is that possible? He was hired in May as a seasonal officer. He underwent, as according to Fox News, a full background check, physical and medical screening, and law enforcement training. The department submitted his employment documents to DHS through the federal E-Verify system. And DHS confirmed eligibility to work. And his employment authorization document showed an expiration date of March 2030. If I miss $6.42 on my taxes, I'm going to have 42 armed guards at my door, breaking it down at 4:30 in the morning, terrorizing my wife. My children are going to be so scared. My God, Lord only knows what they're going to do to the bed. And they are going to cuff me while I'm still in my underwear and frog march me in front of all my neighbors to a waiting car. True or false? But you could be here illegally and get a job as a cop and nobody checks anything? Nobody knows? Nobody has any information? You've heard me say this before, but it's a great example of progressivism is in and of itself the cabal. Progressivism is the conspiracy. If we go back to Butler, Pennsylvania, and this shooter being able to be on the roof, well, the Secret Service must have let it happen, and they must have been involved in this. And the Secret Service, they're the ones who tried to assassinate President Trump. I say to you, that is absolutely not the way it happened. It's not. What happened was bad people were put in positions of power, inept people, incapable people. Right? If we remember correctly, the fires in Hawaii, in Lahaina. If we remember properly, the person in charge there was a person who failed up, who had no actual experience at all in dealing with these types of situations. Sirens were not sounded when they could have been. Oh, they feared the siren would mean they would go to this ground. They shouldn't go higher ground. They shouldn't go lower because of fire. You want this, you want that. Roads were blocked. Lives were lost. Property destroyed unnecessarily. The people in charge had no skill. They just checked the right boxes. The fires in the Palisades. The fires in the Palisades were governed by people who knew absolutely nothing at all about how to deal with a fire. What they knew was how to check a box regarding whether they were gay or whether they were this or whether they were that or whether they were the other. They didn't have the skill set. I would say it to their face and not apologize for it. And my proof is, look at what happened to the Palisades. This is remarkable, stunning, that it could be that somebody without any documentation whatsoever in the country illegally overstayed a visa, which should be a pretty easy thing to discover, was able to get a job as a cop. And the only way we found out is that this guy was denied for a gun license. Because if he had gotten, or he was denied in purchasing a firearm. Because it's very, very possible that if he had been allowed to purchase a firearm, the story would be about, look at this terrible gun shop and how they're selling guns to anybody, and they don't do proper background checks. Son of a gun. These people are obscene. They are gross. So what happens now? The answer is, I don't know. But if you don't fire everybody associated with that department who was involved in the hiring, up to and including shutting down the entire department, I don't quite know what we're doing. You would shut down my business for hiring somebody illegally. You would shut down my business if I sold a firearm to someone who is here illegally. So I expect the same. I won't get it, but I expect the same. Maddening story. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today.
Joining us now is one of the
So I've been looking for that clip of that female firefighter saying, well, people are worried about female firefighters because what if I can't lift you and help you out of a fire? Well, if you're not able to remove yourself from a fire, you put yourself in the wrong situation. Do you remember this woman? Can you find out her name? Right. Thank you, Landon. Because I know I have it. I just cannot find it. It's driving me nuts. Because it's just the greatest example of the madness. This is not a woman who should be doing anything with protecting people's lives. She can't. She's not capable. And yet was fired for a reason. And the reason has nothing to do with whether or not she had any skills at all. No. Yeah. So now I'm just searching. I may have to stop. All right. So let me go to the comments right here. How could it have been lawful to hire the guy who's in the country illegally who overstayed his visa? How could that have been possible? I don't know how I think that's the major focus here. I think that's the real conversation piece. And Kenneth took from my whole story, you sleep in your undies? You think I sleep in silk? Right? A full silk suit like Barney Stinson? I would find silk to be outrageously uncomfortable to sleep in. Slip sliding all over the place. Yeah. Just weird. Right. There it is. Thank you. See, I knew I had it. I should just download that. There it is. Perfection. All right, what else should I be talking about? I don't know if I'm following the news cycle today or not. Oh, don't worry. We'll get to that.
I want to bring in NBC's Vaughn Hilliard, who covers the White House for us. NBC's Julie Sturkin is on Capitol Hill. Reed Galen is back with us. Vaughn, the president cannot stop commenting on the very story he says we should not be talking about, that it's old news. An extraordinary 86% of Americans say they want to know what's in the Epstein files, including, by the way, 90% of Democrats and 83% of Republicans. What strategy is the White House now trying to deploy with all this shifting messaging?
None. Zero. The message part or shifted is already over. There's nothing else here. You've got to deal with the European Union. You can be talking about economics. What do the Democrats say? It's all fake. I swear to you, Chuck Schumer said that. It's all that. That's his contribution. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. This is all they have. I'm a guy who wanted the information. I still want the information. And I do believe that they messed it up. Pam Bondi messed it up. I think Trump made a mistake, a very, very rare mistake in understanding where the people are. And absolutely people want the information. I only hope they want it for the right reasons, which, sorry, MSNBC, I don't put on you. Do you want it so you can see how many times Trump's name is mentioned so you can go after him? Or do you want it because those people who abuse children sexually or in any other way should go to jail or worse? Which one? Me, it's the latter. Because I don't care whose name is there. If you're on the island, you got to go to jail, right? It's Harvey Keitel and National Treasure. Somebody's got to go to jail. That's what has to happen. And I am not forgetting, Kenneth, that Biden sat on this information for years. Democrats didn't care about it at all. It is we, the rational-minded people, who cared about it because we were the ones and are the ones who cared about what happened to these kids. And we didn't think that the rich and the powerful, the connected, should get away with it. I don't view anything in proletariat bourgeoisie mindset. I think that is just pure, raw, unadulterated evil, and it destroys the mind. But I'm not about to live in a society in America that is indeed two Americas, two sets of rules, two justice systems. I won't do two justice systems when it's the U.S. system or it's Sharia. I'm sure as hell not going to do two justice systems where it's one where it's implemented, and if you've got enough cash or you've got the right last name, one where it's not implemented. I don't care if your last name is Trump or Clinton. I don't care if your last name is Gates or Bezos. It means nothing, George Stephanopoulos, who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, or Chelsea Handler or anybody else. Doesn't matter. So when I hear this kind of stuff from the Democrats,
exactly. The White House here's strategy at this point is to let the president speak in his own words, because as you noted there, the communications director in the last weeks had suggested that he had booted Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago and that their relationship had frayed because he had determined that Jeffrey Epstein was, quote, a creep. Of course, that is a very different story than what the president, when directly asked here today, gave.
I think he did boot him, and I think they did know each other. It's a lot of spin for a little bit on their part. More ahead, I'm Tony Katz. I was coming up against the break. I have more to say on this silliness. Very often, the White House strategy is let Trump talk. What are you going to do? Talk for him? He has made this clear. He wants to be his own guy. He trusts him more than he trusts anybody else. He has said that a million times. Let him talk. The story here is that progressives want this to be a story. so they can attack. It's about what they care about. And they don't care about the people. You know, I've said this about Representative Ocasio-Cortez. I'll say it again. Share the video. Feel free. If you show up to the border and cry, and by the way, it's not even the border, it's just a fence, and do photo ops, and you're there crying because of the conditions people are being held in and children are being held in when Trump is in office, and you don't show up to the border when Biden is in office, you prove that it's a photo op. And you have children being trafficked to the border. You have children being abused. You have rape trees. You have horrific conditions. And Representative Ocasio-Cortez never showed up when Biden was in office. Why? Because she doesn't care about black and brown children. I said it. I meant it. I'm not apologizing for it. My name is Tony Katz, and it is obvious based on her actions that congressional representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York does not care about black and brown children. Don't get angry with me. She's the one who said it through her actions. That's my take. She might have a different take, but I can back my take up with her inaction during 4 years of Biden. I think that we should care about children. I think that's the only way you have a civil society. With that, we're going to take the break right now. You guys are where you're at. And you smoke them if you got them. Do anything you want to do. We'll get back to it in just a few minutes. We've got more show coming up. And don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the things. YouTube, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio, Twitter, Instagram, Tony Katz. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Get on that. And we'll be back in a bit. So just hang loose and keep it here. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. No glasses? Glasses. No glasses. Glasses. That's how it works. Yeah, I usually I think the live stream made me wear glasses. I usually always did the show without. I did TV without and everything else, and now I do. Now I wear them all the time. First of all, how rude. I am not insane in any way. I am gloriously within my mind. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let me see what we've got here. I've got a little bit more of the live stream to go, and then I've got more going on the radio show, including on radio. I will be discussing the whole Sydney Sweeney insanity. These people are just terrible, awful. Just so angry, so bitter. It's nutty. Nutty. Let's see. Did I just see that Jerome Powell came out with a statement? They decided not to cut rates because there was going to be a conversation there about. No, it hasn't yet. Okay, so that's just the possibility of what's going to happen. See? Nope. Nothing yet. Got it. I had this stuff about Chuck Schumer. Well, that's a good question, Mark. Whatever happened to them going to see the gold to Fort Knox? I don't know if that's happened yet. I do not know if that has happened yet at all. We should ask. Let's find out. Let me see where this was. Okay. I got it right here. Got it right here. I will share this with you. Coming back to the radio show. Glad you guys are here. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. Sorry, I was just getting prepared. And this is and Oliva or Oliva. This is the Serie V Milanio Robusto. That's what I'm smoking right here. Wonderful stick.
It's been clear. When we fight for democracy, when we protect democracy, we got to fight fire with fire. We're not going to stand idly by, as Maya said. We're not going to let them revert to Jim Crow. And if you don't think they want to revert to Jim Crow, just look what they did in the SAVE Act, which went back to Jim Crow for the whole nation. By so making it hard, they said you need ID, and they made it so hard to show ID that probably half the people in America couldn't vote.
No part of that is true, and Chuck Schumer's a moron. I'm Tony Katz, and that's a great way to start a show. You think it's so hard to show ID, Americans don't have ID, that half of Americans can't vote? Is this the same Jim Crow bull nonsense that you were throwing at us in Georgia? Oh, the new Georgia voting laws, it's Jim Crow. They're not going to be able to vote. More people showed up to vote. And then Major League Baseball came back with the All-Star game where they should have apologized. Remember when they left? We can't have the All-Star game here. This bigoted state. We can leave a major league team here and still collect money from you people, but we can't bring the All-Star game here. And then 3 years later, they're bringing the All-Star game. Holy heck. Tony Katz today. I know I said hello, but I want to do it properly. 833-468-8669. 833. Got Tony. This is embarrassing stuff. Embarrassing, but it's Chuck Schumer. So what'd you expect? More? Sure.
We wouldn't let it pass. Democrats, They needed our vote. They went to court. Many of us, Durbin, myself, and others, were lead plaintiffs, and we beat them in court. But it shows why we need legislation. Because these guys are undoing everything in every way they can. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote. They don't want Democrats to vote.
Well, wait a second. Hold on. Maybe, just maybe I would, just maybe I'd find myself agreeing with the last one there. Maybe we don't want Democrats to vote. But how many more times are they going to tell this story? How many more times are they going to engage this fraud? Every day, Chuck Schumer has to look at himself in a mirror and say, I'm doing the right thing. That's the way he sounds, by the way. It's always with the, I know it's gross. It's gross, but it's how he does it. I'm Chuck Schumer, and I think Republicans are very, very bad. That's how he does it. I don't get angry. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's how he does it. This is still their argument. Jim Crow is his fakakta argument. And they wonder why they lose elections. I mean, there is no wonder. And I was very happy to see Senator Marsha Blackburn engaging a conversation about DEI. She's on Fox Business with Stu Varney.
I got another one for you. Undercover videos show employees at Tennessee schools discussing how they will push DEI programs despite orders from Trump to stop. What exactly did you find, and what are you going to do about it?
Yes, and what we have done is to reach out to these schools. We have great research universities in Tennessee. We were quite concerned about what we saw. We have a letter that is to each of them. They've responded. They are conducting audits. They are making certain that they are in full compliance with federal and state laws.
I just want to say, I like Marsha Blackburn. I always have liked Senator Blackburn. She is getting more and more sounding like Paula Deen every day. I know. How dare you, Tony? How rude is a serious subject. I'm just saying, I'm right. At any moment, she can be talking about this and be like, oh, by the way, butter makes it better. So she's so right there. Oh, my God. And by the way, I've never seen those two in the same place at the same time. How would I even know? All right. But back to our important message, because it is.
And also, they are re-educating staff members to be certain that they know DEI by any name is not allowed. And it is important that staff members understand that and realize that they are not able to continue to put in place their own approach to DEI, that it is against the law and they can't do it.
Gradually getting rid of it.
Good. And yes, and valuable and important. It's a great lesson in, it doesn't matter what Chuck Schumer says. It doesn't matter what progressives scream about. What matters is we win elections and we go about being rational people. I'm telling you, I have tried to write a book on multiple occasions. I've written about bourbon. I've written about barbecue. We've got a book coming out about grilling that should be out in November. But I have tried on multiple occasions to write a book about politics. And I've tried 3 different ways, maybe more. And I get 3 chapters in. I'm like, nope, this is not it. This is not it. And lately it has all been, as I've been writing down notes and thoughts and starting to piece things together. Why is it so hard to be normal? Why? Do you know that it is possible to talk about and teach about the Tulsa race massacre, and possible not to think that somebody with white skin right now is guilty? Both things can happen at the same time. Rational people can do this. Our problem is we are governed by, in way too many places, whether it be local municipalities or on state level, in school boards and in teachers unions, we're governed by weirdos. We're governed by pseudo-intellectual freaks who believe in the division because there must be a profit in it for them. Or, as we have seen, they're most probably liberal women, and liberal women are just, I apologize for nothing. For less than zero. I don't apologize for noting that Karens are the problem. What possibly is more dangerous in American society than liberal women? Hold on. Nothing. Because they give license to the worst, and they shun and try and decimate and full on destroy the best. It's who they are. It's what they do. They're wrong on every single level, and they're not just wrong. They're as wrong as wrong can be, to paraphrase Evan Sayet. Why is it so hard? Why can't we just be normal? Just be normal. That's all it takes. So I'm very, very, very happy to see this from Marsha Blackburn. And as for Chuck Schumer, this is the same old talking point where he discusses our democracy being taken away. It's an imperative. The political left has not figured out something to talk about. That's why they're so desperate to talk about Epstein, and they want to utilize it as an attack vehicle as opposed to what actually happened. When it comes to policy, they've got nothing new. They believe they can win with the same old, and they believe they can get your kids, your grandkids, your niece, your nephew, etc., to buy into it. And it's why it's important for you to be proactive, to not allow those things to happen through your own conversations, which don't have to have intensity, but just rather have to have a level of focus and honesty. That focus and honesty is what leads us to be supportive of people like Senator Blackburn in Tennessee to say we don't engage DEI. That bigotry has no place in our schools because it absolutely rips kids apart and it lies to them, and we shouldn't have it. In the same way, of course, we don't engage the 1619 Project. That ridiculous fraud? Absolutely not. That is different than whether or not we teach history, the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly. We should be teaching about what slavery was, what happened, why it is inhumane, why we should never allow that to happen again. We should, of course, teach the Tulsa Race Massacre. We should also teach that race relations in many parts of the country were far greater than we ever admitted until we started getting into progressive politics of the 50s, 60s, and look at the divisions that were caused since then. Why? Well, because some people really like division. Some people can profit off division, and some people want to tear down the civilization as a whole. We should talk about all of it. But man, I go back to that Schumer piece. Our democracy is being taken away. Holy heck. These people actually think they're going to win another election? Only if we let them. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. I've got a story about prank videos. I do have the Sydney Sweeney story coming up in the next hour on radio. Dr. Matt Will, economist, breaking down the EU deal, the pluses, the minuses, and some things I think that were going to happen, as I was discussing, were going to happen anyway, specifically about energy buys and military buys. I don't know where else that was going to go down. But I do think that the story is Trump got to announce it and the EU just took it. And it's, as a matter of optics, good Lord, doesn't look great for the European Union. I can understand why many of their people are so very, very angry. I've got this right here.
Adding those seats to the U.S. House. How are Democrats to the U.S. House?
There we go. Just
how are Democrats?
Needed to cue that up properly. We've got that. Oh, they're freaking out in Texas over redistricting, losing their minds over something that happens all the time. All the time. I'll bring you that story as well. Also, look at that. That right there. Come on, a little more focus. That's the Rudin record. That is the chronograph from Von Riest. Von Riest watches. You should get one for yourself, or two, or 10. Go to Von Riest, RIESTE, and use promo code CATS and get your discount. Incredible timepieces assembled in Indiana, right here in the USA, that are going to last, pass it down the generations. Just wear it on Sundays, however it is you want to do it. They're worthwhile pieces that you're going to absolutely love wearing. Go to Von Riest, RIESTE. Go to vonriest.com. Use promo code CATS. Get your discount. Make that happen immediately, if not sooner. Let's get back to the radio show.
How are Democrats planning to respond in fighting back on this legislative effort? Specifically, are you contemplating boycotting the legislature to deny a quorum, as your caucus has done on other issues in the past?
Well, all options are on the table. My colleagues and I are going to use every tool in our toolbox to stop this power grab from going through. I mean, the president is trying to rig the next election. That's what
I thought you weren't allowed to say that. But Texas Democrats are out of their head. There's redistricting, and of course, the whole thing is going to be illegal, and Republicans are trying to steal the election. And what are you doing? Redistricting happens all the time. And if you want to argue that the redistricting isn't fair, I can point you to Republicans and Democrats who, when they have power in the states and they redraw the lines, they redraw the lines to certain levels of favor. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Do you want to take a look at how districts are drawn? We all know this, whether we utilize the term gerrymandering or whatever the term may be these days. We know this. We see this. We're aware of this. We're aware that you have, in no matter where you are, if a political party that has power, they redraw based on census to their advantage. I think it's acceptable to say the whole thing just stinks to high heaven. But Democrats going to Texas redistricting hearings, and they're screaming and they're yelling, and finger on the dump button, producer Landon, just in case.
Remember you kindly for what you have done. They will not. As a matter of fact, history might not remember you at all because of what you have done.
They're being escorted out. They won't leave. They're pushing back.
Remember you for what you have done. It is a shame. It is horrific for what you have.
And he got taken to the ground. Well, he kind of fell because he doesn't know how to control himself. He walked out of a room like an actual man. He's just going to scream and yell and do all the things. This is what Democrats are doing everywhere. They're infuriated by something that happens all the time. If you want to stop it, I'm in. But the problem is no one believes you actually want to stop it. You want to stop it when you don't have the power. And that's not a way to run a country. What was it that Joe Biden used to say? That's right. Where's my rocky road? He used to say, you can't love your country only when you win. Yet, isn't that so much of what we see from the Democratic Party in terms of judge shopping to try and stop President Trump from being able to do his job under the Article 2 powers? Isn't that what we see from lawsuits to do the same? Isn't that what we see here from people upset with redistricting? Isn't that what we see from Alex Padilla, the senator from California, when he charges at Secretary Kristi Noem, which he did and he is guilty of, and we all know it. It's not even a question. That isn't actually the story I wanted to get to, although I think important. The story I wanted to get to was out of Arizona, where a TikToker was arrested for a prank video. Here's the prank. I guess I should start by saying that I despise pranks. I think the people who do them are very, very weird. And the videos in question aren't pranks. They are invitations for these guys to get punched in the face until they fall down. I'm not advocating that you do such a thing. I am saying that they are inviting it. The story here is this guy, Heston James, who has 1.2 million followers on TikTok. Oh, I'm sorry, I think it's 1.6 million on TikTok, 1.2 million on Instagram, only 78,000 on YouTube. He and a group of friends, they grab a bunch of red polo shirts and they go to a Target and they pretend they work there. That's their prank. They go to Target and they pretend that they work there. Well, the people at Target are like, hey, you don't work there. You have to leave. Now, understand they have done this at Pep Boys. They've done this at tire centers. They've done this at Jiffy Lube. They've done this at Chipotle, which means they put on uniforms and they walk behind the line. Maybe they don't wash their hands. Maybe they contaminate thousands of dollars worth of food, put the whole restaurant at risk. This is their prank. So they go to Target and they do this. And the people are like, hey, you need to leave. You don't work here. Oh, they won't leave. And they'll push people and they'll cause scenes and they'll disrupt and they'll pretend they're taking care of customers and be rude. And, well, he got arrested. His TikTok account has been deleted. He got arrested. Businesses were complaining of a group of men coming into their stores dressed as employees. These men began seriously disrupting their businesses by entering employee-only areas and refusing to leave when asked. I don't care if the guy gets 100 years in jail. But this is part of that whole realm of videos where people will like walk up to you and like hit you and then run away. Or I've seen pies thrown in the face, like the fake pie thing. You'll be on your phone and someone will grab your phone and run away. What? You know, I always said this about the people who would like try and scare you. They dress up as a clown and be there in a parking lot and then run at you. You should expect, if you do that, if you're this person dressing up as a clown, you should expect to get hurt. If someone's got a weapon, don't be surprised if they utilize it against you. Same thing is true with all of these pranks. When did this become in any way interesting? Now, maybe, just maybe, I'm a curmudgeonly bastard. Possibly that's it. Except I don't think that's the case. I think these people are just morons. And I want to know why it is anybody would be surprised if they got hurt, maimed, disfigured. I am not calling for it. I am only surprised it hasn't happened yet. And why would anybody hold it against those people who have had this so-called prank perpetrated on them? You disrupt my business. You cost me business. You cost me dollars. What do I get to do to you? And what makes this 21-year-old think that this is all right? 21. Guys are going to war at 21. This guy's like, I'm going to dress up like a Target employee. Oh, it's going to be hilarious. We get so many clicks. I don't care if they lose money or if people get fired. Doesn't matter to me as long as I get clicks. Dear Lord, please, I hope this guy never procreates. The last thing we need is more of this. Maybe this is a cautionary tale, this dude, Heston James. By the way, innocent until proven guilty, give him a trial, do the whole thing. Do the whole thing. But I don't even think this is a prank. Right? This isn't a phony phone call, which, yeah, I did when I was 14. And some good ones. Some very, gosh, this is taken on a whole new level of madness. I honestly hope this guy goes to jail. I don't think that makes me anything other than rational by every stretch. What happened in Cincinnati, well, the video shows a white man being attacked by a group of black people and being kicked in the face repeatedly, a woman being knocked unconscious, and the chief of police there, well, she thinks that you're prejudging based on video. I'll get into that. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. Guys, you need to get over to the radio side and get over to WIBC.com. Do that immediately, if not sooner, and get all your radio goodness right there. I appreciate y'all being here as we continue to grow. I got to run. I think I have a short video tomorrow. Then I'm going to be out for a couple days. I think it's the last time I'm out for a while. Some family things to take care of. Nothing serious. Thank goodness. All's good. But it just requires the work. And sometimes, that's it. It just requires the work. I think that's all I got. Appreciate you guys so very, very much. I appreciate being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever it is you're watching. Follow on Twitter and X. Follow on Instagram if you're there. Follow there. Like on Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. And then the YouTube channel, YouTube/Tony Katz. Do that. Make that happen if you would. I'd really appreciate it. Guys, I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.